Hi, in this video, we're going to learn about how for loops can help us repeat code. Let's get started. When you completed our dashed line program, you wrote 18 lines of code in order to get the results we were looking for. You wrote these 4 lines of code to make one line with blank space after. You then had to copy and paste this 3 more times to make the rest of the lines. What if we wanted to make a dotted line? We would need to repeat this code many times. What if we had a way to just tell Tracy to repeat this section of code? Well, we do. For loops are used to repeat code a fixed number of times. So instead of copying and pasting code to create your caterpillar with 5 circles, you can just tell Tracy, repeat the code to make a circle 5 times. This helps us a lot when we need to repeat something many times, because all we need to do is write how many times we want the code to repeat. Making a caterpillar with 50 circles is now as easy as making one with 5. Loops help us by shortening our code, which is something all programmers strive to do because this makes our code easier to read. Using this loop, instead of writing all our commands out, took our 19 lines of code and reduced them to 5 lines. Using loops also makes it a lot easier to alter our code when needed. What if we wanted to make a fatter caterpillar, where each circle had a radius of 50? In order to do this with our initial code, we would need to retype the radius in 5 different places. In our looped code, we just need to change one value and the radius for all circles is changed. Before we can start using loops, we need to know exactly how to write them so that Tracy will understand. To tell Tracy to repeat something, we need to begin by writing this phrase, for I in range, and put a number in parentheses. We need to end the phrase with a colon. This complete phrase communicates to Tracy that whatever we write indented below it is code we want her to repeat, based on the number we wrote in parentheses. Let's look at our caterpillar example. We want Tracy to put her pen down, draw a circle, lift her pen up, and move forward, and we want her to do this sequence 5 times. We write this code by using for I in range 5 with a colon, and then writing all the commands we want her to repeat indented below it. Let's trace through what is happening when this program is run. The first command the computer runs tells Tracy to move backwards 100 pixels. Then we get to the line that initializes or starts a for loop. We will dive a little deeper into what is actually happening when this line is run in a later lesson, but for now, just know that the computer reads this line and knows it needs to start a for loop. So the program runs the commands inside the for loop from line 3 through line 6. When it gets to line 6, it doesn't move on to line 7 because this command is not indented and is therefore not part of the for loop. Before the program can move on to any future commands, the for loop needs to finish. The program actually goes back up to line 2 and checks, how many times was I supposed to run this for loop? Oh, I see, 5. I only ran it once so far, so I'll need to run it 4 more times. And it goes back through the commands inside. It does this a total of 5 times. And once it's done, then it can move on to line 7 and run this command. Before we look at an example in the editor, let's learn one new command. The BG color command can be used to change the color of the canvas Tracy is drawing on. To use this command, we write BG color, which stands for background color, and inside parentheses, we enter a color name inside quotation marks. In this example, we've used the color pink, but how do we know which color names will work? There are many colors that we can use. A list of some acceptable colors can be referenced through the Docs tab in our code editor. But there are many more colors past this short list found in the Docs tab. For example, all 12 of these versions of the color blue can be called with the color command. Try any color you wish to see if Tracy knows it. If not, she will not give you an error. She will just default back to black. To find even more color names that can be used, go to the color section of the Docs tab and follow the link provided to access a site listing all 140 acceptable color names. Now let's look at some examples using loops in our code editor. In our first example, we want Tracy to use a for loop to draw a square. In order to have Tracy draw a square, she's going to need to move forward and turn and forward and turn and do that 4 times. Now we know we can write our code this way, and Tracy will draw me a square. But is this the best way to write this code? Now that we know about loops, there's a better way. Let's initialize our loop at the top for I in range 4, and indent the commands we want to repeat. And we'll delete all of these commands because now they're extra now that we have our loop. Let's see if Tracy does what we want. Perfect. It's important to remember there are many ways to solve a coding challenge, and some ways may be better than others, like writing this code with a for loop, for example. In this example, we want to draw a dotted line across the width of our canvas, where each dash and space is only 5 pixels wide. Let's write the first commands of our code. First, we want to tell Tracy to move backward 200 to get to the left side of our canvas, but we don't want her to leave a trail yet, so I'm going to use pen up before she moves. Now we want Tracy to start drawing short dashes, which means she's going to first put the pen down, and then move forward 5, then lift the pen up, and move forward 5 again. Now we need to determine how many times I'm going to have to repeat this code to get to the end of the canvas. Starting from the left edge, Tracy has moved 10 pixels total. If the width of our canvas is 400 pixels, we're going to need to repeat this code 40 times to get all the way to the end, because 10 times 40 is 400. Let's write that loop. I'm going to write for I in range 40 before I start the commands that I want to repeat, and indent all the commands below. Let's see if this works. Great. Before you go on to write your own code using loops, I wanted to point out some more helpful tips in the code editor. You'll notice in our loop that the words for and in turned purple. This is the editor's way of letting you know it recognizes the phrases you typed. If you've already learned some programming in other languages, such as JavaScript, you may get a little confused about which terms should be used in each language. This color recognition is a good way to help you remember which phrases are the correct ones for Python. The last tip I wanted to show you is the Documents tab. If you ever forget the correct syntax or you need a refresher on which phrase is used for a specific command, you can find a lot of helpful information here to answer your basic questions. For example, if you forget the correct syntax for writing a loop, you can click Loops here and you'll be given some information to get you back on track. In this lesson, we learned how using for loops can shorten our code and make it easier to make adjustments. Use for loops to solve the next set of Tracy exercises.